Hello, everybody. Old Buck Dave back again with the latest episode of the Two Old Bucks. We can't agree on whether it's 177 or 178, so it's one of those. So anyway, how's
And the,
I'm out on the West Coast. Where are you? You're on the
and
East
this is
Coast.
old Bucknell is with you, of course. I'm still on the East Coast. Beautiful weather here. So so you're traveling, and I
Well,
always like to get a idea of a little update on the travel.
little
What
travel log.
what
Oh yeah, we can
Yeah, a
do
little
that.
little travel log. Let's start out with a little travel log. Tell me,
Okay. Well,
how are things going for you?
last week we talked about San Diego and then getting into L.A., San Pedro. I think we talked about San Pedro. San Pedro. Not sure if we did or not.
You were going to move, I think. You were
Okay, we were
heading
headed
north
that way.
after. We were talking
Okay,
more
we were
about the
headed that way.
zoo.
Yeah, so yeah, okay. So we got to San Pedro. I thought, you know, I thought I was booking into a beach town, and because when I looked, like the Airbnb place was up on a hill, kind of overlooking what I thought was the beach. It's actually overlooking the port of L.A., so it was a little bit of a surprise there. But you just go kind of, go a mile or two and you are along the Pacific coast there. And
Mm.
it was a beautiful drive. We did a little drive up and down the coast, first day there. They've got this one section of road. It's like a roller coaster. And there's a sign there before you get to that point. It says the road is constantly moving. Like, what does that mean? The road's constantly moving. Well, this road, it really was just twists and turns and ups and downs, real sharp drops and ups and patches and cracks everywhere. So yeah, that was kind of bizarre. It was actually the road was it was a living thing. It was kind of different.
So it's like a piece of highway that they're trying to keep as a highway, but the ground is always moving up and
Always
slowly
moving,
moving.
yeah. And it's just patches on top of patches and replacements, and even there are fresh cracks everywhere. It's just bizarre. But anyway, that was a
So you can see the harbor from where you are, but not the coastline,
Well,
not
yeah, we
the
saw.
beach.
Well, of course, we saw the Pacific there. We saw the L.A. Um, the port of L.A. and right next to it is Port of Long Beach,
Mm,
which are interestingly the number one and number two ports in the U.S. as far as tonnage moved. They're both ahead
uh,
of New York, New Jersey. That's interesting, and they're right next to each other. Never saw so many cranes. It's unbelievable, and these container ships just coming in there, and wow,
I was going to say it's like it's just a sea of those metal
yeah,
boxes,
metal
right?
boxes. Yeah, just
Mhm.
stacked up everywhere. It's just amazing what they do. But
Well,
yeah,
you're one that you've seen some stuff. I'll say
seen
that.
some stuff. Yeah. So
So,
seeing all those boats, I thought, we got to get on a boat. So the boat we
oh,
ended up getting on was the USS Iowa battleship, which is
so
now
you did get actually on the physical.
we got on the Iowa. We did. Yeah. It was World War II battleship.
I do know because I
It,
was on the Alabama.
oh, okay. He says the guy, there were some really great tour guides. One of the statistics, 56,000 tons fully loaded. That's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of weight.
A lot
And
of metal.
yeah, and they did a great tour. You can tour practically, a whole lot of the ship. And then at different points, they have, retired crew members talking about that part of the ship. It was really, really well done.
That was kind of cool. They must be really
Yeah.
organized.
Yeah, they really were. I mean, I said, I learned a lot. It was got its first assignment in 43 when it was launched. Its first really job was to take President Roosevelt to a secret meeting in Tehran where he was going to meet with Churchill and Stalin. And so they trucked along at 35 miles an hour on that, which was pretty amazing.
Pretty good for a ship that size. I went
Yeah,
on the battleship I was on. I wandered around quite a bit, and I just could never see it all. I mean, I just
it's so big. Yeah,
I was in awe all the time.
yeah.
But let me ask you this. This is what now that you brought up the battleships, the I was on the deck, and everywhere there was some. I mean, 20 millimeter guns were pretty much everywhere. Then there was a 5-inch guns, and there was a 16-inch guns, and some.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried to imagine what that sounded like when they were under attack, or they were when everybody was just firing.
When they're letting go, oh, that had to be that had to be deafening for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't fathom the
Mm-hmm.
noise that must have been under those circumstances with the adrenaline flowing, if there's any, under kind of a plane attack or
Yeah,
whatever, battleship to battleship. But um, there you go. And
that's
now
pretty.
they're obsolete, aren't they?
Now they're obsolete. Yeah. Let me tell you some interesting facts about this. I paid attention on this tour. During the tour, Roosevelt wanted to see a defensive drill, so they started doing this kind of maneuver kind of thing. And one of the destroyers accompanying them on this secret mission accidentally launched a torpedo at the Iowa. Okay, so now
Huh.
they're under radio silence. So they're flashing their lights and everything. They're trying to send Morse code over to the Iowa. Nothing's working. So then finally, the captain of the destroyer said, "Okay, we got to break radio silence, or we're going to lose the president here, maybe." So they did. They broke radio silence. They warned him, and they did a sharp turn, and the torpedo exploded in the wake of the ship. So that was pretty bizarre. Could have changed the course of history.
Yeah, a
Yeah,
lot of stories like that.
yeah. Now
Interesting.
yeah, the ship, they saw it. It saw action in the South Pacific, a bunch of places, and then again in the Korean War. And it was decommissioned in '58, and then recommissioned in '82 when the U.S. decided that Russia's military or Russia's naval fleet was bigger than ours, and we had to get it up to a certain size. So for when and they retrofitted it with cruise missiles and all that sort of thing. So it did some duty in the '80s, North Atlantic, Mediterranean, a lot of NATO drills, that sort of thing. And here's the thing you might remember: in 1989, there was a gunpowder explosion on the ship. One of the breaches was the breach wasn't sealed when a shot was
Oh,
fired, and 47 crewmen were killed.
I can
And
imagine.
yeah. Now, the Navy did a big investigation. They declared it was suicide by a crew member. And, okay, that was it. This guy was, he was depressed or something and he wanted to commit suicide, and that's what happened. But then they got a lot of flack, and they later reversed this. There was an independent commission came, and they showed that the gunpowder under long time storage gave off a flammable gas. And he
Ah,
said it's highly flammable, and then the final decision was that that's what happened. This was not a guy trying to commit suicide.
did you get into a gun turret?
Got outside the gun turret. I don't know if I got. I didn't get into where they actually fired the gun. No, I don't think I did.
I didn't either. I don't think they did. They
Probably
let you
didn't want
go
you to
in
do
there.
that. Yeah.
I mean, you could sort of figure where maybe they brought the shells up and stuff. But being in an enclosed area, that's something that fascinated me too. It's like they don't see anything.
Yeah.
It just said raise it up this way and aim it in that direction and pull the
Mm-hmm.
trigger.
Yeah. But
So fascinating, isn't it? Even
yeah,
to
yeah.
this stage, at our old age, we're still being fascinated by
Yeah,
stuff that
yeah,
existed.
yeah, yeah. It's really fascinating. It's just kind of it's a relic, but
Was that a day trip?
we spent a couple hours on it. Yeah, we spent a couple. It was just actually it was it was like a 10-minute drive from where we were staying.
Oh,
It was perfect. It was right there in the port of L.A.
so have you moved any further north from there?
Well, we had after from San Pedro, we headed north. Our ultimate objective being here in Los Altos in Silicon Valley. But we wanted to see more coastline. So as we were going north on, I think it was 110 or whatever it was, I cut across Topanga Canyon Road, and so that dropped us down onto the Pacific Coast Highway between Santa Monica and Malibu.
The famous Pacific Coast Highway.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, but this Topanga Canyon Road was that was a hoot. Man, lots of hairpins. I thought, oh, this will be fun. Okay, my wife was concerned we were going to run out of gas. All right, she said the gas was too low. And I was like, I don't know, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But the bad thing about it is I had this idiot monster truck dude right on my tail for a big part of the way till I finally pulled over. And he's just a goober, but he
And
was
he
right.
and he obviously knew the road and
He
could
knew the
drive it
road. Yeah, yeah,
blindfolded,
yeah,
and you were like
yeah. But
making
yeah,
sure you didn't go over the edge.
but when we got all through all of that, we got to see more coastline and drove up past Malibu, and it is really beautiful. The next night we stayed in Solvang, which is a Danish community. It's where a lot of Danish people came to settle, and they bill themselves as the Danish capital of America. Okay, so as you might imagine, there's lots of Danish and coffee shops there. And there's some wine tastings. They've got a replica of the Little Mermaid statue, windmills. The building architecture is
I don't
what you
hear
might.
too much about that place.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was an interesting little town. It was cute. Here, the most interesting thing that happened to us though was we went into this store. It had leather goods and clothing and a bunch of stuff. And I was trying on a hat when I thought I'm going to get a hat. I wanted to get a hat like this for a long time, like a what do you call it?
Like my page boy and my paper boy hat there, whatever
Paperboy
you.
hat. Paperboy
Yeah,
hat.
that I've been
Yeah,
wearing for the last 25
yeah,
years.
yeah. I used to wear one, and I finally got another one. Yeah. So as I'm picking out my hat, and there's a guy ahead of me checking out, and of course, and the clerk is real chatty. She's just really friendly, and she's asking him where he's from, and I hear he's saying Pennsylvania. And she says, "Oh, Pennsylvania." She says, "You mean like Philadelphia?" He says, "No, we're in St. Mary's." And she says, "Oh, where's St. Mary's?" And I heard St. Mary's, and I said, "Well, that's the powder capital of America." And these it was he this there were two guys, and they turned around, they looked at me like, "You know St. Mary's?" It's like, "Yeah, I know St. Mary's. That is the powder metallurgy capital of the U.S."
Oh, powder
You got
metal.
powder metallurgy. Yeah, they do make a lot of powder metal components there. It turns out these guys worked for Abbott Furnace, which makes the furnaces that the people use. And it was so funny. I said, "Oh, I'm from Kennemetal." I said, "Oh, we were just talking about Kennemetal." It was amazing. So we had a lot of fun. And then with the second guy's, he's got a Penn State hat on. He says, "Oh yeah, my son went to Penn State, and of course our son went to Penn State." And his son was entering the PhD program in refractory metals at I think University of California, or I wasn't sure if maybe I think it was UCLA, but I'm not sure. I don't remember that. But anyway, we had a great time with these guys, yucking it up about St.
That
Mary's
that
and
happens every now and
powder.
then. It's always
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
kind of rare that you have something in common.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
you're someplace far where you never think you run into somebody that remember that
yeah,
little town in Pennsylvania. So,
yeah, yeah. And then after that, our next night, our destination for the next day was Morro Bay, which is again along the coast. What a beautiful little beach town. Uh,
not overwhelmed with tourists.
Not at this time of the year. No, it was very, there were people there, but it wasn't a mob scene at all. Now, the day we got there, it was raining. It was really pouring. It was the worst rain we had. It was really the only serious rain we had the whole trip. And so there weren't a ton of people there. But, the Morro Bay is the home of Morro Rock, which is this 581-foot volcanic mountain that just pops right out there, like a quarter mile away. And it was just it's quite a landmark there. And then
Did
half away from the mountain, they've got these three big stacks from a defunct power plant. They're 450 feet high. So that's why they say that the town is three stacks and a rock. So
and you chose that by random selection, or you ran across it, or
yeah,
you
my
kind of
wife
actually?
did. We were looking at, where should we stay the next night? And I was looking at this
Oh,
place
okay,
and
okay,
that
okay.
place. And she said, "How about Morro Bay?" And boy, it turned out to be a great choice. It was a real nice little beachy town, but it was kind of a lot of outdoor beachy activities. They did You know,
But isn't that how your adventures generally go? I
yeah.
mean, when you've been quite a few places, and when you talk about them, I think, yeah, I never heard of that place. And you
Hmm.
say, well,
Yeah.
we just left on the map of where
Yeah.
everybody goes. We went
Yeah.
left, and we run into this and had a great time.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of your style. You just pick little places that were different.
Different. Yeah. Yeah. When it was really raining hard, we drove out to the rock. There's a causeway out to the rock. And on the one, the bay's on the one side. On the other side is a big parking lot. It's like the world's worst parking lot. It's like it's dynamited. Okay. And there must have been 25 or 30 cars parked there. And I thought, what are all these cars doing here in the rain? What could be so interesting over at the other end? So we bounced our way through the parking lot, and these guys are surfers. Oh man, they were
Oh,
digging
okay.
it. There's a nice big lot of white water coming in there, and so yeah, it was fun to watch the surfers for a while in the rain. And
Jeez.
I also had the world's best fish tacos ever at a restaurant there. So if you're, if you're ever in Morro Bay, folks, go to the galley and order the fish tacos. You won't be disappointed.
The last time I was on that part of the world, I was riding in a flat car on a train.
You were hoboing?
We were hoboing with a
Wow.
couple other bandits,
There's another chapter we need to explore.
and we were terrified of getting caught and everything, but we were trying to get down to San Francisco, and we came down the railroad tracks. I think you probably passed the railroad track somewhere. I think that
Oh
goes to
yeah,
the train.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The road was
Came
right
from
along. The
Portland
tracks were
all the
right
way
next
down
to the
there.
train. Yep.
Yeah, well, we were holding on for dear life underneath. When they used to have those trailers on those flat cars.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was behind the wheel of one of them, sitting there watching the world go by.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. You have
So
your knapsack and everything?
I didn't have
Registered
no, we
hobo?
didn't have was traveling pretty light. It wasn't much at
Okay.
all, just a little backpack. So
Well, we're gonna have to explore that one sometime. There might be
we
a
could
couple
talk about
stories
that.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of them things you live through when you're young and foolish. So
Mm-hmm. Oh boy, that was a long time ago.
so did you ever reach your final destination?
Well, yeah, we are now here in Los Altos with our college buddy Bob, who you briefly met here. Bob and his wife Shane. Having
Hmm.
a fine time. We're reliving old memories, telling old stories about how each other was goofy and that sort of thing. I will say this about Bob. He was known in college for his ability to fall asleep anywhere at any time. Okay. The guy was incredible. And he still has that knack. I've got to
Still
hand it
has
to him.
it.
He's not lost that technique. I remember one time he gets tired of me telling this story to people, but there were five of us who were staying in an apartment, and we had two bedrooms with two each, and Bob slept in kind of in the hallway in the kitchen because he could do it. He could, nothing bothered the guy. One night he was in his bed there. We were all chatting, and he had a sandwich in his hand, and he fell asleep eating the sandwich. And the sandwich and his hand loosened. The sandwich plopped in his eye, so he's sleeping there. He's shaking his head back here. Oh, you had to tell the story again. So
That's the way you found them?
that's the way we left him. Yeah,
Oh.
sleeping with a ham hoagie in his eye. Of course, fortunately, his eye was closed when it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so yeah, so now we're all trying to stay awake till 10 o'clock. So
Are you about to carry on going north from this point, or are you going to
we are
turn
headed
around?
home. We're headed home tomorrow. Headed home
And
tomorrow.
and you're not doing any surreptitious route. You're gonna sort of jump from one airport to the next and finally get back
Well,
to
we're
this
we're
coast.
flying out of San Francisco tomorrow.
And
Yeah,
okay, so you're flying back. All
yeah,
right. Well,
yeah,
you had a great adventure. You always do.
yeah,
I always kind of live those adventures along with you. During coffee time or at wherever our local Starbucks.
yeah,
So
yeah.
do it while you can.
Do it while you can. Oh, we had a great lunch today. We went to a German restaurant. Had bratwurst and sauerkraut and German potatoes, and there were no Germans. There were no Germans in the place. They were all Hispanics running the place, but the food was still real authentic German. It was really good. It was fun.
I completely understand that. I've been
Oh
used to
man.
that
Yeah.
venue or menu myself. So, yeah.
Bob took home a couple big pretzels. So
Are you up on the latest hoopla in our home state about banning TikTok?
well, that's countrywide. I mean,
I
there's
wondered if if that's they're gonna have to ban more than that, isn't it? I mean, those users they just sort of migrate to another platform, don't they?
yes. Well, the concern about TikTok, it's a Chinese company, okay?
Okay.
So they are getting massive amounts of information on American society, culture, uh, and they have an ability, via their algorithms to influence what people see. These people get on TikTok and they'll just scroll, watch this, watch this, watch this, and of course the algorithm has the ability to let you see the things that they want you to see that could perhaps perform or form a certain opinion,
Hmm.
that you would form a certain opinion based on a particular topic. So it's a very subtle, I don't
Form
want to
of
I don't want to
mind
call it
control.
brainwashing or mind control, but that's the concern that a lot of people have, and it's a valid concern. I think I share that concern.
Well, I told you one day when I not that long ago when I discovered, I was looking, I was, fascinated by an airplane or something, and I said, "Oh, that's cool." And so I was just inadvertently moved the picture up, and here's another airplane. I said, "Well, maybe there's one or two more." And they went on and on forever, and I said, "Oh, my
Hmm.
soul."
Yep,
Well, as soon as I realized that that was kind of like an addictive thing, I don't really play around with it, with
that's
that
what they're
anymore.
doing. That's what they're doing.
But
They're addicting you to watching.
will the folks who if that's the only reason, I support that.
That's a pretty good reason.
Yeah. So if they ban that, will the users then find another medium? Someone
I'm
will,
sure. I'm sure. So I'm sure some. I mean, that's not the only place out there. I mean, kids or adults use Instagram and Twitter/X and different platforms, but TikTok is the one that has just taken the world by storm now because it's so it's simple. The videos are short, and everybody gets a chance to be a goober. I guess you get their 15 seconds of fame. It's kind of like podcasting, only not as long. I guess I don't know.
well, I thought, I mean, it's not that I said I don't support the logic behind the information gathering, but I just wondered how they're going to wean people away from that. You know what I mean? It's almost they'll want to
Oh yeah, it's
congregate
going to be quite.
somewhere.
I'm sure there's going to be a huge uproar. If you notice now on TV, TikTok is running ads on television
I
about
saw that.
the very nice things that they do and the very nice things that people realize or learn or understand or get or linked or get communicated to thanks to TikTok. Okay, it's a big.
And it must spend a lot of advertising too. So anyhow, I'm not into that. I don't have that app. I don't do those things. I just curious to see
You know
how
why
they
you
are able,
don't?
how they ban something like that.
Yeah, that's because we're old.
Hey, speaking of old,
Yeah. Speaking of old,
in my neighborhood, there's a something going around. This is mostly in the folks our age and older. Um,
don't say
I'm get,
COVID.
I'm getting a lot of people are coming down with tiredness.
Coming down with tiredness.
Yeah, I say, how
Oh,
you
well,
doing? They
what's
said,
new
oh,
about that?
I'm tired.
I'm tired. Check the calendar, man.
I'm telling I'm
Jeez.
telling you. I mentioned that because four times today. It's how you feeling, so and so. He's 83. He said, "Oh, I'm
He's
tired. I'm thinking,
he's
geez,
83 and
I'm
he's
kind of
tired.
tired. I'm tired myself
Oh,
because
that's a headline. Jeez.
I moved around quite a bit today. I was on
83
three
and
different
tired.
buses. I was downtown. I was up and down.
Uh-huh.
So I did my share of walking, but I said, oh, my soul. That's going to be another thing we have to face. Tiredness.
Tiredness. Well,
Hey,
fortunately, we're not facing it yet, right?
Hey, listen, I've been
Yeah.
saving something for you.
Oh, talk to me. Talk to
I
me.
have a what if something, yeah,
What if? Okay.
yeah, it, that's kind of an open-ended question, but I'm going to tell you real as quickly as I can my greatest what if question. Back in 1967, I'm sitting in an economics class with a professor, and I wasn't good at it. I don't even know if I passed it with a D plus.
It's kind of like high school all over again.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I was not a high achiever. So uh, we were sitting in this class, and he was talking about the disadvantages of communism as opposed to capitalism.
Okay.
And I was near somewhere near the back on the high riser with the
The
rest of the
bad kids.
sleepyheads.
The
Yeah,
bad kids.
the useless guys.
Uh-huh.
Uh, so I raised my hand and said, "What if the Chinese embrace capitalism?" I said, "There's 300 million of them or 500 million of them at the time."
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "That won't happen." And
Oh,
apparently,
wow.
they did discover some way to start manufacturing stuff because they are pretty good at manufacturing. I'm probably wearing a Chinese watch right now. So I thought about this what if thing. I thought
Okay.
about it. What if, um, let's say Nike hired a private contractor, maybe SpaceX or somebody, and just landed something on the moon and unfurled a huge uh, sheet with the Nike swoosh on it that
Nobody would be able to
you could
see it.
almost see with a telescope.
Okay.
What if somebody started to use it as an advertisement? What if they put a can of Coca-Cola on one of these, in these moon rockets, and the camera shows, and Coke is on the moon?
This
What if
is
they turn it into some kind of an advertising gimmick? Think about that one.
it could happen someday. It
It
could
could
happen
happen.
someday. Yeah. It's just a matter of time. Just a matter
Just a
of time.
matter of time,
Yeah,
right?
hey, we're wrecking the earth more and more every day. Who's to say we're not going to wreck the moon once we start inhabiting it? Jeez.
One small step for
Yeah.
mankind, one sip of Coke
Yeah.
for the astronaut.
One sip of Coke for the age.
Here's
Yeah.
something I thought about
Okay.
this.
Give me another one. Give me another what
Here's
if. I
another
don't know.
what if. What if the desire that Elon has to sort of get to Mars in his spaceship, what if
Hmm.
it's really to claim the planet? What if Elon wants to get there and say, "I claim this place for myself"?
Who does he? Who does he file the claim with? I don't know.
No, but
The,
just to say that, like
the
I've landed on the
Prince of
moon or I've
Mars, or
landed on Mars, and
yeah.
I claim it. I claim this planet for myself. There's a there's a whole bunch of what ifs.
Well,
I, I
that a lot of that's been done before. You know, when the
you
the
mean
European settlers claimed
I
America.
know, I
Yeah,
know.
and
Claimed
they
it for Spain,
claimed it for Spain, claimed it for England,
but
and
the what if
there were
thing
some
that
people already here, though. That was the difference. There were some
uh,
people already here,
well, true.
but there won't
Uh,
be. Yeah, I don't
but
know.
I
This is
think
what
about
keeps you
that
up at
all the
night.
time.
That's what I was afraid of. You think about that all the time.
And when I reach you, I have to lay this stuff on you because otherwise, we're laughing hysterically in the Starbucks. People are looking at us, they wonder what
Hmm.
we're talking about. That's when I think, what if somebody actually does that, or what if that's a giant question.
Hmm.
The what if? So,
Well, I'm glad I'm here to be a safety valve to let you vent these crazy things that keep you
and we
awake at
know
night.
it's only between me and
It's
you.
only between us,
Yeah, and
us
the other six
and our
listeners,
six listeners.
if
Yeah.
there happen to come on. So we
Uh-huh.
know we can say these things.
We don't always get six. Sometimes it's only four. I don't know. Yeah.
So other than that, I haven't been doing
Yeah.
too much, Dave. I'm kind of
Okay.
done working.
Hey,
Um,
let me ask you a question. Oh, so you're done working. The project, the home remodeling project is done.
the home remodeling project is done.
You don't have to take the bus anymore to.
No, I did. The last one was my last trip was yesterday. I just finished touching up some baseboards and some door frames and a few some little landscaping things outside. But it's a mammoth project, and I remember I once mentioned to you about the waste that kind of stuff generates when you tear a old house
Oh
apart and
yeah,
you buy all the
yeah.
new stuff. And people here in this state are constantly doing that. Constantly remodeling. You get a
Yes.
house, somebody buys another one, tears out the floor that the guy just put in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
throws all that away and puts another one in. So, but I'm definitely feeling it, and I'll have to take a little break from that kind of work
Okay.
for a while.
Hey, speaking of crazy old people,
Mm.
I guess we were kind of talking about that. Did
We
you
we're
see?
allowed to talk about
Did
that.
you
We
see that?
qualify.
Did you read the story about that guy in Germany? He got 217 jabs, COVID vaccinations over about 29 or 30 months. 217 vaccinations.
I did not hear that, and I can't believe anybody would allow him to do that.
He did it, and he's the good news is he's okay, and he also did not get COVID. So I don't know if he was in a plastic bubble at the same time, but I don't know. That's pretty strange. He defied the odds, I guess. They say if you get that many shots, you're going to get sick, but he didn't. So
So is he a
that's just
walking kind of walking test case? I mean,
he is. Yeah,
that
there's
stuff happens all the time. There's
yeah,
always somebody that pushes it to the limits or does something different. I mean,
always a crazy old man out
yeah,
there.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's always something when you think, you really shouldn't have had that much stuff in that, you know, on that bike or something like that.
Hmm. Oh,
It's a strange world.
speaking of bikes, I got some sad news I just read this morning. Um, there's an amateur bicycle race in Spain. Okay.
Okay.
And it had 182 riders. Now these are amateurs, okay? And a rumor went through the peloton that there was going to be anti-doping testing at the finish line. Right? These are amateurs. Of
Hmm.
182 riders, 130 of them abandoned the race. That's sad. These are amateurs. 130 out of 182 did not want to be
Tested.
tested for doping at the finish line. That's, cycling is
This,
never going to get past this. It's never going to get past this. Much as I love the sport, it's just,
well, these people take that very, very seriously, even in an amateur race, I
yeah.
suppose.
Ay, ay, ay.
You know what I thought you were going to say? In an amateur race, you know how easy it is for one bike to go down and rest them to crack,
Oh, yeah.
You'd have said something like
Been there.
132 people, and only four managed to get out of that
Yeah.
pile of broken
Yeah.
bikes.
Jeez.
So you still keeping up with the latest news, even where you are? You read your.
Oh, I plug in got the computer plugged in every day. I read all the news feeds early in the morning. Yeah. So I'm pretty much plugged in.
I am
I'm
just the
delete.
opposite.
I delete the Sarasota papers without reading them. So Sarasota and Bradenton mostly are just.
You're heading back. You're heading back home tomorrow. So I'm thinking we're pretty much out of time for this little episode. It's good to catch up with you.
Okay, yeah, we can wrap it up here. And we'll talk more next week after I get back and get back
That we
in
will
the
do.
time zone. And yeah,
Well, I wish you safe travel, and for all our listeners, I know we have a few loyal listeners that get a chuckle out of
more
us.
than six, even more than six.
Well, all the best to them, and they should write in and tell us their adventures too.
Yeah, let's hear
We're
about it.
open for
Yeah,
that. This is Old Buckdale saying it's always a pleasure talking to you.
and
See everybody next time.
it's old Buck Dave saying the same thing. Take care, everybody. Talk to you again next week. Bye bye.